Hey everybody, this is Rich. I use the he, him pronouns. You're watching my YouTube channel where I play awesome tabletop RPGs with friends. This is part of Star Wars Saturdays, an ongoing campaign I've been running since December of 2017. Every month, I post up a game, sometimes two games, different RPG systems, all taking place in the Star Wars setting. The timeline for this is just after Return of the Jedi has ended. Um, X amount of time has passed. I would, if you were putting it in the timeline of movie plus shows, I would say is somewhere after Return, before Mandalorian, because I think Mandalorian's like several years. The Empire is in the process of falling. The only thing you need to know really is the original trilogy of movies. If you haven't seen Mandalorian, that's okay. I just like if you have, I just want to put a point where my head canon in my head is for timeline. The expanded universe, expanded all the EU stuff, just like Disney. We chuck it out and then bring it back in as we want, which is awesome and freeing. And at first, I know there were a lot of people who were butthurt about it, but I think it was one of the best calls because it got rid of the Zhangong, who were terrible. Sorry, deep cut. And the empire is falling. There are still remnants and places where the empire is effectively in control, but as a galaxy spanning imperial government, it is troubled. The Jedi have, as an order, have fallen. However, in this game, which is Padawans in the Vineyard, you guys are part of a fledgling temple. There is a Jedi, which we will talk about in a few minutes, who is your master. That Jedi has been training you in the ways of the Force, and you have reached a point where soon you will be going through your initiation, and you'll be sent out into the galaxy to try to find others who are learning the ways of the Force. How do you find them? We'll if you guys want to talk midichlorians, I'll do that. I'll do that for you guys. But we may just say it's a mystical way of knowing. It's fine. We'll determine that in just a little bit. But first, I'd like to get to know a little bit about our players and our Padawans. Oh, I should probably let you know what this is. So the game system is Dogs in the Vineyard, an out-of-print game from D. Vincent Baker, the mastermind who co-created it, co-created Apocalypse World with his wife, B.K. Baker. Dogs in the Vineyard is a game about a made-up Western setting in kind of Utah, but not called Utah, about Mormons, but not really Mormons. Imagine Wild West Paladins. There you are. We've hacked this for Padawans running around the outer rim of Star Wars. What's the outer rim? You don't even know that? That's okay. It's like the places that have the Empire's falling, but like the Empire wasn't super powerful, and the outer rim is kind of the outer rim of the universe. That's it. We'll figure everything else as we go. Greg, if you could please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your character.
Hi, I'm Greg Gilder. He, him pronouns for me, but I am playing Gitlo. Gitlo is a Keldor because I use the random dice roller. And she is the Keldor are I think they're only in the prequels? Question mark.
I'm pretty sure I've seen them in Clone Wars, but yeah, as far as movies, I've seen them in the prequels.
They have like the rebreather, and they've got like these like angry like jaw tentacle things. And in my constant effort to take everything from Legends and make it canon in the Rich Rogers Star Wars universe, Gitlo is a Baron Doe trained Jedi Padawan. Baron Doe is so in the wider Legends canon, there are Force-sensitive species who do not follow the Jedi Order, and the Keldor have sort of a mystic, basically Jedi druids, who are very focused on wind. So they move very quickly. They shape and use the wind using the Force, and that's what Baron Doe training is. She has the problematic training. A problematic trait for her is her pride. She's really proud. She thinks she's a little bit better than the other Padawans because she's done some training before the Jedi training, right? And like Baron Doe is like really her thing. So she's a little bit stuck up about that. And a part of that leftover Baron Doe training is that she prefers to fight with her staff, which is a very Baron Doe thing to do. They didn't have lightsabers; they fought with staffs. But she has somewhere in her possession, she has an antique lightsaber that is very problematic, and it doesn't work very well.
Oh, I see the stats on that.
Yes,
oh my,
it's not a good lightsaber. And I think as far as relationships, I've put relationship dice down for my fellow Padawans. Haven't really defined what that is yet. Of course, we'll find that in play. And then she has a very strong relationship with her Baron Doe master, Dastba. Dastba is dead. Possibly a purge. I don't know. We'll figure that one out too.
Ooh, that sounds fun. That is really cool. Thank you so much, Greg. I'm excited to see and say the last name slow, or are you slow? Okay, awesome.
Slow.
Awesome. Steven, if you could please introduce yourself and your character, I would appreciate it.
Sure. I am playing the Ithorian Lefwo Itib. I'm sure we'll go by Leth or something like that.
I was great to ask.
Yeah.
So read my mind.
He, him, Ithorian, if you in A New Hope is in the Cantina. They're the Hammerhead race. They hate that name. That's an insult to them, just for future use. They're very pacifistic, and they're very what's the right word? So basically, they live on a jungle planet, but they have said that they will do no harm. So they actually live in ships above that planet, and so that they don't damage it. And once they developed lightspeed travel, they live on herd ships. Lethwo was actually exiled from his herd ship. The Empire attacked or came to invade the herd ship. It would be an easy target. And he was in training as an oracle of his people. And he fought with the Empire, which was that level of violence was too much for the Ithorian on that herd ship. So they exiled him for this. And he longs to go back, so he has some artifacts from his time there. He's a pacifist, so that's his bad trait. I don't know what you call that. Disadvantage. Ithorians also have multiple mouths, so they have a scream that they can do, a bellow that they can do. So, yeah.
That is awesome, Stephen. I'm very excited to see Lethwo in action. And then our special guest for the series is Eli. Eli, good morning. If you could introduce yourself and your character, I'd appreciate it.
Sure. I'm Eli. I use he, him pronouns. You can find me on Twitter at Eli Sites. From working on a few RPG projects that are going to come out in February. So check that out. Today I will be playing, and in the future sessions of this game, I'll be playing Linz, who is a Nautilin, which is one of the many Star Wars species that have kind of head tentacles, but not a Togruta like Ahsoka, and not a Twi'lek like many other Twi'leks in the Star Wars universe. This is one of the lesser known ones, and they have 14 head tentacles. So it says Wikipedia. So plenty of those.
Wow, someone counted that. Bravo, Wikipedia, folks.
Someone figured it out. And Linvo had a kind of interesting way of ending up at the Jedi Temple, that they originally kind of have gone through most of their life with their mom, who's a smuggler, and their older sibling, who they think is the coolest person ever. And when exploring an old broken down Jedi temple, Lynn found a old Temple Guardian lightsaber, and that it turned on for them. And kind of after that, they were found and kind of whisked away to the temple, but they're still a little bit resentful of leaving all their family behind and have some complicated thoughts about that, which was why they are both headstrong and deceptive as some not very Jedi-like traits, and they fight with a combat style that is pretty unknown in the Jedi world because of its use of deception.
Oh, that's delightful, friends. These are some really I love. We're definitely going to have to do initiation to see why it is that you were sent out into the wide universe, you problematic little Padawans. So good. Great. So let's spend a little bit of time talking about where it is that you guys have been training for months to years. It's a Jedi Temple. So first, I'll start off with Linz, since you have discovered old temples. Is this Jedi Temple where you all have been training, is it a newly founded and built temple, or is it an ancient temple that you guys have kind of reclaimed and are restoring?
I think that it is a new structure next to an old structure, that they originally went to go to the old structure, but the old structure has a whole lot of strong force ghosts and remnants to it, and it kind of is a little much for pretty much anyone. So they're like, okay, we'll be here next to it and set up our own thing.
That's awesome. It's like a pop-up trailer temple.
Yeah, it's like a bunch of tents or something. That's the Jedi Temple.
It's like the church that's set up in a strip mall until they can afford their big temple thing. And they're the Athorian form. I'm sorry, but unfortunately, we're going to have to do some restoration. It's absolutely structurally unsafe, but there are force ghosts. I did that for Greg. That was just.
You just end up accidentally possessed.
It's accidentally possessed your last student. We're so sorry. That is awesome. So we've got this ancient Jedi temple that you guys are training in, a newly built facility that is nearby. And so there's this, you can venture into the old temple. I'm sure that it's a dare that some younglings have spend the night in the old temple. It's totally a thing that has happened. Oh, oh, that sounds good. So, Greg, let me ask you then, how far along is the construction or the reconstruction of the Jedi Temple? Is this thing that is years out from now, or are there particular sections of the ancient Jedi Temple that have been partially restored?
I think that all comes down to how willing the Padawans are to do that work, because we're being used as, in between our training, we're being used to restore the old temple. So it's sort of like our practical, it's our lab work where we do the seminars and we do the training with like the little remote blaster thing in the air. And I don't know, they're always running through the forest whenever there's a training scene for Jedi. So we do all of that. And then like our practical legwork study time is we're like replastering the walls. So it's progressing.
Paint a fence, sand a floor kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's progressing slowly, mostly because the Padawans are not as into it as they are into the actual training to be a Jedi that they view that to be.
Okay, cool. I like that. And then the question I have for you, Stephen, is, so we have this new Jedi temple that's probably pretty modest. And then we have the ancient Jedi temple that is being restored. What about the surroundings around? Is this a very remote location? Is it near some kind of town, or is it actually located in a bit of civilization?
It's remote. It's distant because there are still pockets of the Empire around that would like to see us dead and us destroyed. So I think it's fairly isolated. I imagine a lush, forest or jungle around us, because that's the way we always do things in the Star Wars movies. So.
I was getting ready to say, what is our world of backdrop? So that's exactly you intuited. So it's in a lush jungle. I'm thinking like a rainforest. Does this sound good?
Yeah.
Cool. So we've got these like gigantic trees. It's a little indoor forest move indoorish.
And I think the ancient temple probably reaches above those trees. So you can see it from, from a speeder as you come in or a ship as you come in. But I don't think our temporary structure or our, really does. Yeah.
I like that. That sounds really good. And it's a good way to kind of hide. So that's perfect. Nice. I like those answers a lot. So Eli, now we switch over to you to learn a little bit about your Jedi Master. And Master is not a gendered term in my headcanon. So when I say Master, I'm not trying to indicate a thing. We'll start simple. You can choose the gender or species of your master who's been training the three of you.
Let's go human. I feel like they get around in the Star Wars universe a lot.
All right, cool. So Greg, you get to choose now the gender or age.
Trying to think what's most problematic.
I mean,
so I'm thinking
gender and
I'm
age?
doing age, and I'm trying to think what's most problematic. So, I think they're in like their 30s. It's that uncomfortable age where you have to respect them because they are a master, but they still are so close to our age that they feel young.
Nice. And then Stephen, it comes to you. Do you want to choose their gender or the place in the galaxy that they're from? Outer Rim, Mid Rim, Core Worlds, meaning the difference is their Outer Rim, they probably have had very little dealings and problems with the Empire. Or like Outer Reaches, like they just have come from far, far, far away in unknown space to here. Mid Rim means that they, as humans, probably enjoyed the fruits of the Empire, but also dealt with some of its problematic imperialness. And then the Core Worlds are it was all Emperor all the time. And this person being 30, like that's been their whole life.
So I really like the idea that they grew up in the Core Worlds and had to hide their talents. And do you want me to gender them?
Yeah, go for it.
I think it's a he. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So we've got our Jedi Master is a human originally from the Core Worlds. Spent all of his life hiding his Jedi abilities, learning about it, perhaps from a hidden holocron. Yeah, I stuck that in there. I'm going for it. And so now I'm going to look on the names. Eli, any of those particular male human names on our names and species helper that seem cool? We can also make one up if we like.
Or
We can take a first name from one place and a last name from another. I do like Nova Star. I also like Finn as last names.
That is pretty good.
Although Nova Star seems like a protagonist, like not the Jedi Master. Spang Nova Star is a freaking comic book character if ever I've seen one.
I mean, we gotta get Nova in there somewhere.
All right, maybe just call him Nova. Nova Kalos. What does that sound? Like it?
Yeah, that sounds fine.
All right, so your Jedi Master's name is Nova Kalos. We will, if someone says, "Oh, this is how I see Nova Kalos," I have put this NPC on A2. So your Jedi Master, Nova Kalos, in his 30s, lived in the Core Worlds. What do you think, Corellia? We're just going to go with the heavily polluted dump that is Corellia. Awesome. There we go. Cool. So Nova Kalos is your Jedi Master. Now, Greg, what is one of Nova Kalos's strengths for which you most respect him?
I'm thinking on that one.
Yeah, that's cool.
I think. This is good. So part of the Baron Doe mythos from Legends is that they had to hide their practice from the Empire as well. So his ability with the Force to disguise himself and to I don't know, disguise sounds like it's a Sith thing, but to his ability to suppress his Force sensitivity so that others cannot see it is something. Is that something that Guy respects, or is that something we all respect?
I think let's talk about Guy, and then if other people want to respect that, that's cool too. I just saw your Cowboy Bebop poster in the background, and
Yeah, it's been there for a long
very
time.
happy.
It's signed
That's
by
awesome.
all the animators. It's my wife's. Yeah. It's a really cool poster.
I now know why you married her. I mean, there are probably other reasons, but that's just one of the top.
I did not know Cowboy Bebop before I met her, and yeah. Anyways,
nice. Cool. Okay.
Guy definitely respects that about Master Callus.
I think being tricksy might impress Linz a little bit too.
So
Okay.
it impresses Linvo, but Linvo also doesn't understand it. So I feel like Linvo hasn't been doing this Jedi thing very long and like doesn't really understand the Force.
Sweet.
In like the technical aspects of like the things you can do with it, and like doesn't really understand how impressive that is. Mostly because Linvo is over here like the equivalent of setting off road flares everywhere they go whenever they do something with the Force.
Why are they even
which
coming
they are
with us?
doing all the time on accident.
Road flares. Stephen, what is one thing about Nova Kalos that you find the most challenging, or is one of the challenges that he faces?
Let's see. I think I find the most challenging thing about him is his forthright nature. He's very for me it's almost rude, but I think for normal humans it's just he's very businesslike.
That's very Corellian.
Yeah, I dig that. Oh, hold on just a second, guys. Actually, we're like an hour in. Let's take a 5-minute break. Cool. All right. See you guys in 5.
I like that Lethwo has the FOMO.
Yes. I was trying to come up with good things to add in there.
Hello. Sorry about that. Wife needed me to take care of the pup, so I've done so. He'll be here occasionally. All right. Good. So I have a pretty good handle on our Jedi Master, our temple, and so now we'll move on to initiation. Initiation is pretty fun. It's like, of all the RPGs, it's the one I feel like is kind of the training mode for RPGs, which I think is pretty fascinating. Let's go ahead, go for a roll for your party dice roller. So we are going to start off with initiations. This is kind of an individual thing. And what this is your trials before you are sent out. You're going to be sent out. If you fail at this, it just means you have some other problems to deal with, but your Jedi Master, Nova Kalos, believes in you. Or perhaps he has no other choice. So in the initiation, what you do is you start off telling me what it is, some kind of trait or something that you hope to accomplish. Some ways are like, I want to gain I want to earn my right to do so. I want to prove myself to so-and-so. Also, this could be I want to gain my lightsaber. This could totally be that. So the initiation is going to be one particular conflict. And we'll define the parameters of that conflict. But it is effectively a ceremonial conflict, and then we're going to go through the dice system, which is pretty interesting, but has some bits. But once you're comfortable with this, then you're comfortable with all of the conflicts in the game. Stephen, I'd like to start with you because you have some experience with dogs. Just because I think it'll be good for us both on both sides.
Okay.
If you're okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that Lethwo would like to accomplish during his initiation?
So, to be honest, I was thinking beforehand, I really like the idea that this is how he builds his lightsaber.
Nice. I think that's perfect.
Because I think there's some internal conflict with him. A lightsaber is a weapon, but it's also used for defense, and he's struggling with that somewhat.
Yeah, because of his pacifism, right?
Yeah.
Nice. Good. So I am going to use, I'm going to go ahead and share screens. And I know it does kind of dominate and take over, so hopefully it's not too bad for you guys. If need be, we'll switch around how we're doing this. But I'm going to start off. So I, being the GM in this conflict, I get to roll 4d6 and 4d10. That is my whole, those are all my dice. So let's start off. Is this a thing where Leth approaches Nova and says, I want to build my own lightsaber? Or because it's part of the initiation, it's pretty ceremonial. I just want to make sure is that where you had your hand cannon for this?
No, actually, I think Leth is, old for a Padawan. He's been here a while. And I think
too old to begin the training.
I think so. No. I think he's been trained somewhat before he came here. He's been in the training process for a little while. And I think Nova Kalos kind of says, okay, it's time for you to move on, right?
Are you the guy who's like, you should be you've got more than enough credits to graduate. You've been kind of auditing a few courses, just,
Yeah, I think that's right, yeah.
I think you're the oldest Padawan who has not been sent out.
Well, how can you tell? But yeah.
It's true. Yeah. It's like historians. All right. That is awesome. So then your Jedi Master Nova Kalos says it's time. He has you dressed in your ceremonial robes, and you are taken to the ancient Jedi temple, whereupon you will work on constructing your first lightsaber. So I will roll 46 and 4d10, and those are the dice that we do. Now, what we do here is, and I meant to create a little thing, and I didn't. Over here is where we're going to put your Fallout dice. When we use dice, we'll put them here. We'll just have when your dice are rolled, you'll arrange them up here. I'm going to put mine down there. Left-hand side is after we've used dice. Right-hand side are Fallout. Do not clear dice. Please, no one. Oh, look at that D10. I'm so sorry, friend. You're going to suffer some fallout. So let me move these dice, and then you will tell me what do we? Oh, come on. There we go. All right. Cool. So as we look at the character sheet rules reference, non-physical conflicts, non-physical acuity plus heart, physical body plus heart, fighting body plus will, blaster fighting, lightsaber dueling. To me, it sounds like a non-physical, so let's have you roll your acuity plus heart to start things off with.
Okay. Heart.
Oh, it's not too bad. Not too bad.
And you said move these off to the side?
No, you can just leave them there for right now.
Okay.
Here's our conflict space. So what I do is I'm going to put forward the first pair of dice. You have to match or beat it. If you can match it with one die, then you have done what's called a reversal. If you match it with exactly 2 dice, you've blocked this first kind of pass. And with 3 or more, you take the blow. And then all of those dice will be moved over here to the right-hand side because that will become fallout after the conflict. We'll resolve that. It's a separate thing. I have a lot of great dice. I can't believe how well I've rolled. And so I'm going to lead forward with this. You step into the august space of the ancient Jedi temple, to one of the first rooms that you have all worked together to help restore. The ancient stone sings of your ancestors, and it reverberates with the power of the Force, and it is intimidating. I've put forth a 12. You need to beat that, and unfortunately, you can't. So there's a little bit of strategy here, right? The more dice you have to use for this is the more dice you're going to be rolling for fallout. But if you use up like your 6 and your 5, that you won't have them later. So you can look at my dice. I'm not going to be rolling anymore. And you can, if there is another aspect of this, you can start to bring in other dice. Like by stepping into the space, I think of so-and-so, and you could bring in a relationship, or my particular trait definitely applies here, and you can roll those dice and bring them in to the conflict. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Cool. So in this case, what I would probably do in order to match, which would be take the blow, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would be if I match it with 12, I can do that with 3 dice, and the most I can add in is 3 dice.
You can go more than 3.
Okay,
it's just
but those
that many more dice that go to your fallout dice.
Okay. And if I fail to match it, what happens?
If you fail to match it, the conflict's over and you've lost.
Okay.
You've got to match it. Like you can't come up and say, I'm just going to stop at 11. If so, you're effectively giving up, which is a thing you can do. You can just give up. I'm not going to, I don't feel confident in this and give up.
Okay.
Right,
so
cool.
I'll match it there.
All right. So you go 5, 5, and 2.
Right.
All right. So I'm going to move these dice over here. You have effectively taken the blow, but you're able to proceed further. So what does this look like? As you step into the space?
So I think that the ancient Jedi temple, the area that I go, hasn't been repaired. We've been working on the outside, but this is an area where we don't go very often. And what this looks like on screen is, as I go down, it's very dusty, and I cough a little bit, and that reverberates and causes a portion of the temple to kind of collapse. And, I narrowly get out of the way as like a big column comes down.
Nice. Your Jedi Master, Nova Kalos, says, Seek out with your feelings. You must find the crystal, the Kyber crystal that calls to you. There are many here in the ruins of the temple. And so, because I had the highest dice, I led off. He has set forth that challenge. Do you want to lead off here? Let's have you do that.
Okay. I think. And at what point can we bring in additional
Right now.
dice? Okay.
Mhm.
So I think I'm going to bring in. So I brought in my walking stick, which is a tree from a twig or a stick from my herdship, and I think I'm going to use it almost like a divining rod. And let me roll those. Okay. And I will. Let's see what this looks like. So I'm going to lead off with using the divining of this rod. I kind of put it in the ground, lay it down flat with the ground, and kind of start to turn it to see where it feels right.
Nice. So I'm going to be mean. This is a challenge, and I also rolled really well. I'm able to meet this with one die. So this is a reversal. And so in this reversal, what I do is I've effectively won this. Now I can set forth a new conflict and add in another die to that you've got to kind of meet. So
This is kind of like a complication.
Yes, it is exactly a complication. So I'm going to do the dice, and then I'll talk through the fiction of what it looks like. I'm going to put forward a 6 here. And now you've got to beat. Effectively, you've won that conflict. Now I get to, because it's reversal, I'm putting forth a 15. And so the Kyber crystal that your divining rod calls to you, as you look at it, it appears that there is a flaw in the crystal, that it was damaged. And that was the first one that came to you.
And that makes sense. So I'm trying to beat a 15 or meet a 15
yes,
at this point?
You got to meet or beat a 15.
Yeah. And I'm going to, I think this is my forte, to take things that are hurt and to try to fix them.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't decide whether or not this should be, I'm going to bring in force healing.
Ooh, nice.
Which is a trait. Ooh.
Nice.
And if I bring in 3 dice, that is a take a blow, correct?
It's right. It's take a blow and you'll get fallout, but you've effectively done something that allows you to continue further. So
I think I will meet your 15 with a 16.
Nice.
And what that looks like is I spend some time with this damaged crystal, and it drains me as I push energy into it in order to detect what the issue with the flaw is and to seal it.
Nice. And is this a thing where you still have the stick out, or do we see you get down in like a little lotus position, and what does that look like as you heal this crystal?
Yeah, I think that I take the crystal and I get down into a lotus position, and I take the crystal and I tie it with a string to the end of the stick, and I plant the stick kind of in the corner so that it rests in front of me so I can focus on it as it's suspended there.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, go ahead and move those 2. I don't know why I'm gesturing at a screen you can't see. Move those 2 D8 over. You have beaten that. You took the blow.
So
or
unfortunately, some of
block
the positioning here is a little weird for me. I can see
Oh.
your screen, but on my screen, the dice are in different places.
Okay. Well, we'll just call that the master thing. If you don't mind me moving the dice, you can just tell me where they go.
So I don't. However, I had to meet that with the 2 new dice. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay. That makes sense.
Cool. So you'll be the die roller of your own dice. You tell
Yeah.
me which dice you're moving, and I'll be the master. I wasn't aware of that problem with the positioning.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I did, whenever I met that, I moved a D6 down. Should I have not done that?
No. So
Okay.
I moved it over. This is the D6 you did. Yeah, I moved it. It was good. Right, you did.
So I had the D6 and D4, and then I had this additional D6 that's here.
Oh, so then that should probably go back.
Okay.
Right, because you did 2d8. You did 2d8. This is what you decided on at the end,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Cool. Okay, good. We're back on track, and I'll be the die mover now.
Thank you.
No, it's good. I appreciate you saying something. Now you have this crystal, this kyber crystal that appears to have no flaw. And your master, Nova Kalos, says, "This is the crystal that you have chosen. This is the crystal that has come to you. What color? Lethwo, what color will your lightsaber become?" And I'm not going to get into go into Wikipedia and look at all the different colors, because I don't care that much. So you, Steven, get to define the cool color, and that's kind of the challenge: is what is the color and what does it mean to Lethwo?
So I think Lethwo reaches out and into the crystal itself and expects a more traditional blue or green or something like that, and internally feels a little bit disappointed whenever he opens his eyes, and the crystal is glowing with a bright white light.
Ooh.
It's kind of a solid white. And he, at first he thinks he's done something wrong. So let me move. You have a 10?
I do.
It's going to take 3 dice.
I know.
Yeah. And you still have 2 dice left.
I
Okay.
do. All right. So you are able to take the blow, which means that we will move these dice over. You now have 6 dice worth of fallout. And you see that white crystal before you. You can put forth the last challenge. You can roll me out. You can win this conflict here. What do you do?
So I think this is the mental connecting up of the lightsaber itself. So I think I open my pouch that came with me, and there are pieces inside that I've been spending time adjusting and trying to get ready for this. And those parts, I concentrate while I'm still in this lotus position, and the little pieces kind of come, raise up into the air, and they kind of circle around and start to assemble, and then they kind of come into place around that kyber crystal as it comes into completion. And I reach out with my hands and turn the blade on. That severs the string and from the stick, and it becomes a whole unit. So
nice.
Let's move these 2 down.
Okay. And then I cannot meet the 6 that you just moved up, which means that you win the conflict, because this is ceremonial. I can't bring in more dice. And you now have your lightsaber.
Okay.
Your beautiful light staff saber with white crystal is fantastic. Now, so I'm getting ready to clear all the dice. Let's keep in mind, you have 6 dice, which are for Fallout. Okay. If you look over here at our conflict for Fallout, non-physical or ceremonial is D4. So you're going to roll 6 D4. Any ones that you get are experience. And with experience, what you do is you use the experience Fallout. And then you will roll that 6d4 and total it, and then that will affect what fallout you get from the total. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, cool. So I'm going to clear these dice.
So it's
Roll this.
interesting.
Mhm.
If I roll max on all of them, I could be dying at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to submit 64.
Yep.
And I did not get max, but
You
it's
got an
pretty high.
experience die. That's pretty awesome. So 5 and 10, 15. Oof. Okay, so 15, you're somehow injured
Okay.
by this. And again, this injury will heal by the time you guys are going out, but you can get the injury fallout. Let's see. So yeah, so let's go ahead and have you take something from long-term fallout for that injury, and then you get experience fallout for the 1. So you see those, and you can think about that for a little bit.
Okay.
Unless you have some stuff in mind that you like.
No, I need to look at it for a little bit.
Okay, so let's jump to the next conflicts. Is that okay? Give you a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Greg, if you could, please, Gitlo, what is it in your initiation that you hope to accomplish?
I think Gitlo, I think she hopes to prove that in some way Baron Doe training is superior to the Jedi path. which couldn't go wrong at all. And I think I'm interested in a lightsaber duel of some sort.
Oh my. Okay. What is the thing that she wishes to accomplish? To show that Baron Doe is superior to show that Baron Doe is superior, or show that she is superior as a fighter?
The Baron Doe is superior. The Baron Doe technique is a better way of this fighting in a lightsaber duel.
Okay.
That using Baron Doe technique in a lightsaber is
Sure.
superior than just straight Jedi training.
Okay, so it's not necessarily G's the greatest fighter, but G shows that her style is the strongest style. This is very kung fu. I love it. So let me ask you this. Is this a thing that you're thinking she's challenging Nova Kalos, or she's challenging one of the other Padawans?
I think Nova Kalos challenges her.
Okay, the initiation. There we go.
Because I think in an education sense, he's trying to bring her to heel and make her see the error in that pride.
Okay, we'll see if he does. All right, let me roll my 4d10 and 4d6. Did I do the right one? Yeah, I did. Okay, 4. Is that right? 4d6. Oh man, he is having an off day. This is going to be an interesting.
I was really hoping you roll all 1s.
Well, I mean, I wanted 2 2s. I mean, that's not great. He's not. And again, I'll be the person putting forth the dice because it seems like the best way to do it for this.
Yeah, I have a very similar issue on my end.
Cool. So let's go to our rules reference. Lightsaber dueling is heart plus will. That's what you'll start off with. And then whoever has the highest dice will be the person to lead off by putting forth dice.
8d6 for me.
Nice. Ooh, that's going to be me putting forth the first dice then.
Oh, did you want to roll them?
Sorry, you roll them. That way it's your fault if they're
them.
Terrible.
Yeah.
You get to roll dice. I'll just do all the movement
here. All right. And I'm gonna go with. There we go. Oh, not great.
Not great. Very average. You're an average fighter. Good.
Very median. Okay.
Everybody likes average fighters. They're very average. So I have it all in one shot. I'm going to move these down a little bit. Is this taking? Stupid. Always wants to put them up there first. Okay. I assume this is taking place in the ancient temple, or is this a fight taking place in the temporary temple?
I like sort of on the steps of the old temple.
Ooh, I'm getting kind of like a little bit of like an Aztec vibe to this. So there's a lot
it's
of
very Yavin. Yeah.
yeah. Cool. So you guys are on the steps of the thing, on the steps of the Jedi Temple. Nova Kalos, his lightsaber is a blue-bladed single lightsaber. He fights in a saber style that it's a lot of hidden movements to it. So he doesn't come forward like this. The lightsaber's held behind. It's a thing where you find yourself distracted by his hands and his face more than the lightsaber. The lightsaber comes in quick, short spurts. It's a short lightsaber. It's almost like a Gladys style lightsaber, something easily hidden. And the light, while blue, is almost dull. Sorry, dog is whining.
Oh, it's okay.
I apologize for noises. Just imagine that it's Greg's chair.
Yeah.
Cool. So we look at the dice. The highest dice. He's going to lead off with. He's going to lead off hard. So he comes at you immediately. He wants to show that Baron Do is not the strongest style. That learning the way of the Force and the lightsaber, because it's an elegant weapon. So he comes forward and says, "Jitlo, come, let us duel." And as you take a breath, he's already on you, leaping forward with kicks, and then the lightsaber coming forward towards your head. What do you do?
So, rules clarification. Can I add more dice at this point, or do I have to use?
You can.
I can.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can. You can. Like, we're started at Lightsaber Duel, so you can't really escalate, but you can actually change the conflict at the outset. But you do need to try to block this with whatever dice that you're bringing in. You can bring in belongings traits, and then you can change the conflict type, which if you have not rolled one of your stats and that conflict type has different stats to it, you can roll those dice as well. Does that make sense?
Right. So I could bring in a trait, but I can't bring in like my body.
If you were to say, right, because body is fighting.
Oh, okay.
And physical. So if you were to say, as part of my block, I'm kicking him, then you can bring in your body. You started with heart plus will, so you can only roll your body because you've already rolled your will, but you could bring in your body there if you want.
But I could use the Baron Do training at this point too.
Yes, you certainly could.
And that's what I'm going to do. So hopefully, to prove my point, this is going to roll well. Let's find out.
Yeah, we'll see. Go ahead and roll them dice.
Okay. 6 and a 4.
Not bad.
And then if I'm able to match it, that
then
means what?
If you match it, then you've blocked. You've effectively blocked. You will not take any fallout, and then we'll move to the next step in the dance that is this lightsaber duel.
But I have to block it with 2 dice, which I can't do.
Correct.
Okay. I was hoping to.
Let's pull it for you, buddy.
Let's move the actually, let me see if I can do this. Boop, boop, and boop. So I'm gonna meet it with these 3.
Oh, cool. All right. So you meet it with exactly those 3 dice. You actually exceeded it, but you don't get any Benny for that. We move those over to Fallout.
What could go wrong?
By the way, because this is a lightsaber duel, the Fallout for this is going to be different dice.
Right. It's not going to be the D4. So I think, yeah, he comes at me with this, the smaller lightsaber, and I block it by very quickly, like cutting a wind at his feet, which trips him up a little bit. And his saber slips out of his hands, and I think that I've bested him, right? And it's that point that the wind, I'm not noticing that it curls around behind him, and it just goes into his other hand, and we meet blades.
Oh, nice. That sounds awesome. Cool. So you get to lead off now.
And I can only do 2 dice, correct?
Yeah, you lead with 2 dice.
2 dice. Okay. Well, then I'm going to lead with my strongest suit.
Go for it.
These 2 4s. And I think As we meet blades, we start going up and up the staircase.
Ooh, yes. Yes, I
Um,
love that.
and as we're going up and up and up, it's one of those spires, right? As Stephen made the spire that goes way up above the canopy.
Mm-hmm.
It's at that point when we reach the very top of the stairs that Gitlo summons the wind underneath her, and her robes sort of billow up, and she flies all the way towards the top of one of those spires, towards the edge, far further than a Jedi could usually just force jump.
Nice. I love it. Cool. So you're putting forth a total of 8?
Yes.
And I can definitely meet that. So he runs forward. Nova runs forward 4 steps and then performs a supreme leap. He does not use wind to his advantage, but his mental fortitude is stronger than you have seen witnessed, and he does not want to let you down in this ability. So he meets you at the top of the spire. We see a few of the stones underneath his feet kind of crumble away, and when he flies up, his lightsaber is coming forward, but he lands on the spire and does not yet attack. He waits for just a moment. He is able to block. I assume, do you attack? We'll kind of color this a little bit. Was it just the jump, or do you imagine you're waiting for him for an attack?
Yeah, I think there's probably some sort of circular fighting around the outside of the spire.
I like it. Cool. So during the circular fighting, you see that he's working in a lot of feints. He's trying to tap around your defenses to try to find a weak spot. And I am coming forward with a pitiful 5. You can definitely block that.
Yes, I can. If I beat it, what happens?
If you are able to beat it with 1 die, then something happens. If you beat it with multiple dice, it's just
it's the same. Okay. In that case, I am going to try for a 6 on 1 more die. I'm bringing in my force projection here. For people who play Dark Forces, it's when you duplicate yourself.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna bring in. Just double checking that some of my other stuff wouldn't be more interesting. Oh, actually, no, precognition.
Ooh.
I'm gonna start. I reach into Nova Kalos's mind a little bit to try and anticipate his moves.
Oh, nasty. 5 and a 1.
So I can't beat it with just 1.
No, you can meet it. So you can do a reversal if that's what you want.
Okay, so yeah, I'll pull the 5 in there to do a reversal on him. And this is a technique that it's something Nova Kalos taught me. The reading minds and seeing what they're going to do in the future. And so I start to see that he's going to do this sort of deceptive Tricata style. I'm pulling it in.
Nice.
Where he turns off his blade as he comes at me. And as he does that, I'm able to use a Baron Do technique to pull his lightsaber away from him and throw it into the canopy.
Nice. So you throw in that 5, which means that you reverse the blow. Now you can add another die in, add it to the 5, and I've got to beat it. So you're going to defeat him.
Nice. Yeah, I'm going to pull that 4 in because there's no better way.
Yeah. Okay. So you pull the 4 in. He is defeated with the simple 3 that he has to try to beat that. So what does it look like as you defeat him? Is the thing where you... Yeah, because you don't kill him, right?
No, obviously not. No. No, I think it's just he watches the lightsaber fly off into the canopy.
Okay, cool. I
and
like
there's
that.
there's this moment of recognition, and it occurs in our force link, right? Because I'm in his mind a little bit, and he closes that part of his mind off for a second, and he just looks at me and goes, "You know, there is more than lightsaber duels that you will have to do."
Nice.
And I extinguish my lightsaber, and I do. I know. And then I float down off of the spire. And I think for the most part, he's okay that like none of the other Padawans saw me. I think that's
Cool.
because we were up in the spire, like no one was really watching it.
That's right. Awesome. So we have 3 dice of fallout. You've won your conflict. You can take a you've won that conflict, so you've proven it. You can take that as a trait if you wish. But now we need to roll your fallout. So fallout dice for a lightsaber is d10s. You get to roll 3d10.
So I could die, right? Is that?
I mean, you're not actually. You could. You're going to get hurt real bad.
All right.
Yeah, if you roll insanely high.
Oh,
Okay, so no experience dice. Holy crap! If only you'd rolled like that before. So 3 times that's 24. You should be dying. And I think, is this a thing where you realize after all of this that he got you? He tagged you in the gut?
yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
So what do I take as fall? Does that become long-term fallout?
It'll be long-term fallout.
Okay.
He and you should be dying, and so as you lay there on the spire, he actually takes a moment and calls his lightsaber back to him before he bends down, lets you kind of feel that pain for a little bit as a memory, and then he force heals the wound and saves your life. Gives you a bit of his essence.
Can I script change that slightly?
Yes, you can.
I don't think Kalos is the kind of person who would injure a Padawan.
Okay.
But I think there's an ability that he learned on Corellia that he has not taught us. And because he had to hide himself from the Force for so long, he's become very powerful at it, and he actually can start to damage the Force in other people. And so he damages my connection to the Force as sort of a hubris causing thing to humble me. And I'm not even aware that it's happened, but he has reached out and severed as part of my connection to the Force to kind of avoid me becoming too powerful and turning to the dark.
Cool. All right, so you can mark a long-term fallout. I like it. Last but certainly not least, we have Linz.
Indeed.
What is it that you'd like to accomplish during your initiation?
I think Linz isn't entirely sure what all the Jedi are about, but wants to convince Nova Kalos that like you should send me out to the universe because being here is not good for me, or like I am not enjoying my time here. Like let's go, let's do things.
So you think the problem with that initiation, and we can touch it up, we can tweak it, because if you end up giving, then Linz doesn't go out, right? So
yeah, that's true.
Do you think maybe in the initiation you're trying to prove that he can send you out with full confidence?
Yeah, I think that could work, or that like I've proved that I've learned enough Jedi things that I would be that I'm still would be a good representative of the Order.
Okay, cool. I like that. All right. So I think
if we set the terms of the conflict, are you imagining that Linvo, by proving their worth, is doing so in some kind of physical trial?
Sure, that works.
Feel free to tell me if this is lame, but perhaps Nova Kalos leads you to a place deep in the jungle, points to what appears to be a cave that has grown through a tree, and says, "Go into this cave. Face whatever it is that you find in the cave. Then tell me, when you return, what you've learned."
And Lynn kind of like looks at the cave, looks between them, and then just nods. And we'll jump up to go into the cave.
Oh, yeah.
So this is physical. I roll body and heart.
Yeah, so you step into the cave. You head down a few steps that appear to have been built into this place. There's a great deal of mist, almost like smoke. And as you step inside, you see that there is, I think there's a nautilin in there. Perhaps someone that reminds you of your older sibling? Perhaps it is your older sibling, so now we have to give them a name. Let's jump on over here and find us a good nautilin name. They'll have the same last name as you, so we'll call them... You like Vashni?
Sure.
All right. So Vashni Vo. That's kind of cool. I like that alliteration there.
Yeah, so Lynn kind of like sees out and like cries out to them, Vashni, what are you doing here? Aren't you out on the outer rim? And kind of like steps forward closer to them.
Cool. And when you step closer, you realize that there are aspects of Vashni, but something doesn't feel right about them. Vashni's eyes, they're around the ridges of the black nautilin eyes, appear tinged with red. Lynn, you're not worthy of this place. I'm here to replace you.
No, this is a trick. This must be the Force. You can't be here.
All right. So it sounds like we are entering into a conflict. So this is going to be a non-physical. Roll your acuity plus your heart.
Okay.
Oh, that's a lot of ones. You got a 6. All right. So
yeah.
I definitely have the highest dice. Let's move these down here so they're in the shot. And we will start our conflict. Aha, you tried to trick me, die roller, but I know your ways now. Ha ha ha. So Vashni says, the only trick of the Force is that you lied your way here. And I'm going to show them. You have no place among the Jedi.
And so can I I can bring in traits, or do I have to respond and then I can bring in
You can bring
traits?
in traits if one feels appropriate. You've got to meet a 13 or beat it.
Okay, well, I'm going to bring in my trait for strong uncontrolled force powers, which are those road flares we were talking about.
Yeah.
So I think that just like this is something to do with the force. So obviously we'll just force at this thing, and that'll help do it, and it'll prove that I'm a Jedi, and it went really good. I rolled a 1 and a 4.
That
Very
seems like it's
helpful.
not going to help you a whole lot. Yeah.
No, not really. So I guess that's a 13. So I guess I'll put forward 4, 6, 3.
All right. With a 4, 6, and 3, you're able to block it. And so, what does the problematic force power look like? How is it that you prove a little bit of your worthiness here?
Yeah, I think that then just like very strong force push, but usually when Jedi use force push, that's very like controlled and directed. And this is more like it's a very strong like kind of whirlwind thing that's a much bigger and much
And we
more
hear cracking of branches and the tree itself shudders. Yes, I love it.
exactly.
Sweet. So you have taken that blow. You get to come back. What do you come back with?
Yeah.
This is where you're going to push forward 2 dice.
Okay. Yeah.
And you can try to escalate the conflict if you wish to try to grab for other conflict die type.
Sure. Let's get some. I'll escalate to physical,
Okay.
and that Lynn kind of like runs forward to tackle this
Awesome.
apparition.
So going from non-physical, which is acuity plus heart, to physical means you're going to bring in your body. And don't forget that your older sibling, who's the coolest person ever, you are dealing with that. So that relationship definitely is in effect
Okay.
if you want.
Cool. Yeah, I will roll my body. Oh, there we go.
There's a 6.
There's a 6. Yeah, and I'll put forward. I'll put forward 6 and 4, and like run forward to like tackle the apparition to the ground and just be like, "You're not names.
Vashti?
You're not Vachni. This is just in my head. This is just part of the Force."
Nice. That tackle lands hard. You slam your sibling into the inner trunk of the tree, and they are able to they take the blow. It hurts them. You see the dark green blood of Nautilin, of your sibling, appear at their mouth, and they curse you. And it makes your stomach twist. But you realize, as I push forward, 2 1s, they've shown themselves. They're not your sibling at all. This is some kind of apparition you face. How do you defeat them?
And I think that as like the blood comes out and I feel the twinge, but also like get the confirmation that this was an apparition, which I kind of knew already, then Limbo like gets up off of them and turns their back to them and goes to walk out of the tree.
Nice. What dice do you push forward? It's just any of those really will, as long as you beat it.
3 or 4.
All right, cool. So you put the 3 or 4, you defeat them. You have 3 fallout dice. We had escalated to a physical conflict.
Okay.
So the fallout for physical is D6s. So I'm going to clear these, and you get to roll 3d6 for your conflict. You have shown. And I'm curious what you tell Nova Kalos when you come out.
Yeah.
But we can then okay, 2, 3, and 3. For a 2, 3, and 3, that is an 8. You've got a long-term fallout. No ones were rolled, so no experience fallout, and you get to get one of the long-term fallout pieces. We'll give you a moment to think that over. I'm going to circle back to Stephen. Stephen, what fallout did you choose for Leth?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Fantastic. So I wanted to make sure that I'd done this correctly. If I'm not mistaken, I was in the 12 to 15 range, which would be injured. I think that was right.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
you rolled a 15.
Perfect.
You did. Yes, thank you.
So what I took a limp. I think that whenever I described part of the temple collapsing, I think we didn't see it on screen until I turned to leave, and I leaned a lot more heavily on that staff than I had coming in. And I think this is, sort of like a twisted knee or something like that.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense.
Okay.
If you want to carry that forward as an injury that you keep, that's fine. Otherwise, it will be healed by the time you head out, because this was just the initiation.
So I put that in as a limp under fallouts and notes.
Sounds fun. Okay.
As a D4. I also I got an experience which let you add in a trait. And I added the belonging of lightsaber.
Nice.
Right?
That
Because that makes sense.
Perfect. Yes. Yeah. And because it's a lightsaber, it automatically gets a D4. So
that's the question. Under the rules, it says D4. Under the comment under belongings, it says D6.
Right. So this one's special. You get a D6 plus D4 for the lightsaber.
So if you look at the comment under belongings, it says at the end, a blaster is D4 plus whatever. A lightsaber gets an extra D6.
Oh.
So you might want to change that in the comment.
Yes, thank you. That is where Rich was like, I think I did that before I iterated and realized, oh, wait, the D4 is because it's problematic. So, yes, thank you for that. And I'll fix it right now.
Perfect.
Cool. All right. So you got a light limp, and now you have your own lightsaber. That is cool. So let's circle back around to Jitlo. What did she take as her fallout?
Jitlo took a force scar to her precognition. Now, when she reaches into the future, she really only sees not so great things, and that's due to the scar that Master Kalos put on her.
Ooh, man.
And there's no way I'm getting rid of that after training. That's awesome. I'm sticking to it.
Cool. And then hopefully you had enough time, Eli. Do you have? If not, we can skip past you and then circle back again.
I think so. But I think that Lynn is going to add a D4 relationship with the Force. That they still working that one out and are not very good at communicating or using or communing with.
What is it that Linvo tells Nova Kalos when they come back out from the tree? What did you face? Nova asks. What did you learn?
And Linvo looks at him and just says that the Force is dangerous. And while it can help us as Jedi, it is not a tool for our using, and that we must be cautious.
Very well. Very well. You have completed your training and now may travel the stars with the other Padawans. Good. So it is 6 minutes till. Let's take our last bio break before we jump into your one and only town. We'll meet at the top of the hour. See you in 6 minutes. It can take a while for the camera to come back on sometimes. Shockingly so. Like slower than Hangouts or StreamYard or anything. All right, I've unhidden a tab called the Silver Dart. It's your ship. In fact, it says the Silver Dart, your ship. I'm smart that way. Some might say prosaic. Our deck plans and all that good stuff. It's mostly going to be your new home for now when you go from here to the temple, from the temple to other places. And yeah, I'm going to be doing a little Wikipedia research to see if I can find an official jungle plant. If not, I'll just make one up because, I mean, if we can make up stuff every movie that didn't exist before, so can we, friends. Okay.
And that ship is, it doesn't look very fast.
It's I think Silver Dart might be a little bit of a misnomer. It is a plotting thing. You have a crew who have volunteered. They aren't servants of the wills as much as just excited to be part of this new operation. They are not force sensitive. They are fascinated by the idea of serving the Jedi Order. They've heard legends of that. And I grabbed a picture for Nova Kalos. Is hopefully that's cool with folks.
Is Grom our pilot?
I think he is. Is that cool? You like Grom?
Yeah, Grom.
Me too. I thought that picture was really dope. Just kill a little bit more time here.
Steven, are you talking? I can't hear you.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was
okay.
gonna ask Rich, do you just have a Pinterest board of all these different Star Trek or Star Wars interesting people? Because you're grabbing pictures much quicker than I could.
Yes, kind of, sort of. Yes, basically, yes.
Awesome.
I have an Imgur board and a Pinterest board. And the Pinterest board, I love Pinterest. It's like so great. All right. Sorry for that loud throat clearing. I should have muted myself first. Welcome back. You guys start off on the Silver Dart, which is your ship. You're leaving the as yet undefined named Jedi Temple jungle planet, headed towards the Minos Cluster. The Minos Cluster is in the Outer Rim as well. This is just a few days' travel. The crew of the Silver Dart are folks who have volunteered to help out. So they kind of ferry you around until situations change. Right now, you have the pilot, Grom Rabor. Grom is in our NPCs and places. And there are a bunch of other pictures there. You guys are going to be meeting some Bothans in a little bit. So those are the Bothans in the bottom. If there's someone else that you think would be part of the crew, we'll just bring them in as we wish. Here is what Nova Kalos told you. He said, the temple has received information that there is a potential student, a youngling, that we can bring. This youngling can be found in a place known as Tun Gimwell. Tun Gimwell is in the southwest reaches outside of the city of Balrund on the Adalonian, or Adalonia, which is a planet in the Minos cluster. Those are a bunch of words that I've just thrown out. Don't worry about it. You're going to Team Gumwell is the place where you are headed. During your travels, would anyone like to do any bits of research on this particular small town? Searching the data archives, looking on the holonet, anything along those lines. Is this something you guys just want to deal with it as you come to it? Once you land in the town, then you're on your own. Once you get to Belrund, the Silver Dart you disembark from the Silver Dart, and it's just the three of you going to Team Gumwell and dealing with it, trying to find the youngling. You search the force, search your feelings. So
I think Geetlo will definitely sort of sit in her quarters and meditate, and try and reach out and sense the future about how this mission will go. I think this is mostly just flavor, and she's finding herself. It's very difficult. The path ahead seems obscured.
Nice. So
he
what
describes it possibly to Lethlo as windy. I see our path as windy.
Yes, the other things that Geetslow will see and perhaps describe is a deep hole, not unlike perhaps a monstrous hole, because you see many souls drawn in it, Bothan and human alike. Good. So you guys arrive in Adalonia. Adalonia in the Minos cluster is Adalon. Adalon is a mountainous world. It has three major cities that are all located on the west coast. It was an uninhabited world many years ago in the time of the Old Republic. It sits on the Rima trade route, and it is a bit of a nexus point for the Minos cluster. It's the most profitable of the planets in the Minos cluster. It is kind of space Las Vegas. It actually has its own HoloNet production hub here. So there are a number of HoloNet channels where the shows are produced here on Adalon. And that's where a lot of their culture is broadcast throughout majority of the Outer Rim. There are a bunch of channels and stations here. It is a world that has an entire Disney-fied amusement complex to it. It's nowhere on the level of Zeltros, where it's much more family oriented. And there's still pretty strong within the cities themselves imperial influence. There's officially a non-imperial governor, but there are still stormtroopers, there are garrisons here. So landing on the Silver Dart is a thing where you guys will need to be careful. Belrund, which is the city where you land, is not the capital of the world. And so while it does have a number of parks, instead of being Disney-fied, sorry, I'm going to be very Americanocentric, but it's more like Six Flags. So good, fun, but not a multi-billion credit industry. More like folks are like, we can do that too. let's do it in Belrend. It's cheaper to set up. So you land your starport and start. You want to head out to. I mistyped. It's Tim Gumwell. No, not Tim. It's Toon Gumwell. There we go. So you're headed to Toon Gumwell, correct? So do you guys imagine, is this a thing where you walk? Do you get a speeder to rent a speeder, or do you actually hire a driver to take you out to the southwest reaches of Belrend?
I think we should hire a speeder or like get a speeder, but I think we can drive it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I think that
Guy is used to having someone drive her places and is a little upset that
I mean, Lynn will drive.
Lynn will drive.
But Lynn is also like, yes, this is good. We are no longer in the Jedi Temple. I can stop wearing my Jedi robes, and has like changed back into their smuggler clothes.
Nice. I'm going to step away for 1 minute. I'll be right back. I'm going to give my wife a hug. Bye.
And what were you saying, Stephen?
I was going to say, I think whenever Leth steps off the ship, he steps down like the little ramp from the Silver Dart, and as he touches on the ground, he kind of scoops aside some earth and kneels down and drops in a few plant seeds, and then scoops it back over, and then kind of walks on with his little walking stick.
The dog is determined to go with her, so I have to pick him up. Give me just a second. Come here, buddy.
Just say, come on. Honey, I know. I love you too, but you gotta stay.
He's a mama's boy.
You gotta stay.
He's like, wait, no, you're leaving. I can tell you're doing the leaving thing. Look at that face. Look at that face. Please don't leave. All right, go whine at the door, you big mess. You. His name is Beaker because my son also likes Muppets, and I think maybe he was kissing up to me by suggesting. Good. So, I apologize for the noise. Oh Lord, he's really freaking out now. Lynn, you're happy to be out of your Jedi robes, and you volunteer to take the speeder. And so the three of you are riding. This is a mountainous area. The arid climate is quite different. It's a little cooler here, and the trees are remarkably different. It's a lot of blue. Hold on just a sec. He doesn't normally freak out this bad. Sorry. Just gotta deal with it. The trees are in various hues of blue here. And when you pull up the little nav, sorry, he's 6 months old. He's dumb. His howling is hilarious to me. I'm sorry. It's probably cruel, but like it's cute. You pull up the nav computer and type in Toon Gimwell. You find that it is just an hour's drive on a speeder. It would be longer by foot, and you guys arrive. The first thing that you see of Toon Gimwell is that there are signs up for what appears to be a brand new hotel is under construction. There's a bunch of older places in this small town. There we go, buddy. Yeah, just chill out and shut up, please. There are older establishments. This is a town that has been around for maybe 50 years total. Heading in, there's a small garage where the hotel itself. There are a number of huts, and there is a brand new, grand opening cantina here. Heavy mix of humans who all appear to be like they're dressed in similar looking coveralls. And the main part of Tungimwell is the silver mine that exists here. The miners all wear the uniforms all have the Blue Horn Mining Company insignia on it, which is of course just like a big blue horn thing, and then around the seal itself in basic is Blue Horn or Albeck, Blue Horn Mining Corporation. So, though you're the driver, where is it that you want to head?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a little bit of the galaxy. I kind of know how these company-ish towns work. I think that we should, and we're going to pull up to the hotel, kind of go in at the top and see where we can go from there.
Nice. Cool. So you head into the hotel, and you find that the staff are all in brand new uniforms. They greet you formally. Yeah, an Ithorian, a Nautilin, and a Keldor walk in, and you see that the hotel itself appears, well, it's new. It looks like that it is not a posh hotel, but more of this is a thing that's being built because the population is growing. So it is a budget level. Please stop, honey. No one's coming to save you. You just have to stay with me. So the budget level hotel is mostly for folks within the mining corporation, visitors and the like. So they greet you and say, "Oh yes, would you like 3 rooms?"
I mean, I guess if no one else is gonna go up to the counter, then they'll walk up and be like, "Yes, I'll take 3 rooms."
Cool. Okay. Now, just as a, and this is a little bit of Rich porting over some of the dogs in the vineyard aspect to our Padawan hack. You're aware that there is a Bothan who is in charge. He's a foreman at the Blue Horn Mining Company. His name is Hisk Fafir. And you also see some advertisements for the local doctor, whose name is Fin Celia. Both of them should be in our NPCs in places. So,
have we seen much of an Imperial presence here?
there is not much of an Imperial presence here. In fact, you see that there are some aspects of the way this hotel is built that would meet Imperial specs, but you don't see any, like there's no Imperial reporting, no Imperial dogma that appears to be here. So because it's been newly built and construction began after the fall of the Empire, looks like this is just something that is set up by one of the merchant trading companies to profit off of the Blue Horn Mining Corporation and this large silver mine.
Good. Okay.
I think Geetlo will ask the concierge here. She says that we have come here to join the Blue Horn Mining Group. Where is the best office to visit to?
Yes. The Blue Horn Mining Corporation has an office, and she gives you quick walking directions. It is it's the thing where they built the hotel, and it's 2 streets over in this small town. You would likely want to speak with Hisk Fafir, who's the foreman, who currently is in charge of the mine.
Thank you. I think that's our best lead.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Cool. So we'll just do a quick Lucas-style scene wipe as you guys do a little bit of walking out of the hotel, screen wipe, and then you're walking up to the Blue Horn Mining Corporation offices. There's a small, squat Duracrete building built for functionality rather than creature comforts or looking nice. And as you head in, you will meet with Hisk Fafir. And he has a data pad and he has like a little ear set where he's in communication with members of the mine. I'm so sorry. I'm going to open the door and just let him run around. Give me a second. Oh, thank God. Hopefully that stressed me way more than it did you guys. Hisk looks up. He looks at the three of you. Jedi?
Oh, no. We're here to talk with some of the workers, and we just wanted to know, have you seen any Imperial presence around, and do you have openings for jobs?
Oh, openings, of course. Growing. There's a whole new vein that we've discovered. The silver mine. Very profitable. All the town, all of Toon Gimwell is benefiting from this silver mine. And as a foreman for the Blue Horn, I'm authorized to hire as many of the townsfolk as possible, but it's just not enough. That's why people are coming from. Some are coming from off planet.
Very diverse people are coming from off planet.
Yes. Working in the mines for an Enthorian, we will need to find a way to create a equipment for you. Never created a helmet for a hammerhead. Sorry.
And can you tell us much about the people that you're hiring? You're hiring a lot of people, you said?
Oh, yes. Very much. Really. He says, let me show you the interview. And he'll reach over and grab Linvo's hand and like pretend to check for a pulse. Oh, do you want to work at the mine? And he chuckles.
So I have a out of character question. So in dogs, we come in with a certain amount of authority.
Yes.
Should we be doing that in the same vein here?
You certainly can. There's no Imperial presence.
Okay.
You guys have a certain amount of. Yeah, but you don't have to. Correct.
And so I'll talk with the other two that we can say, hey, what direction should we take this? Should we see if we can just get jobs? I got that vibe from talking at the hotel, and kind of look around, or should we pull authority here? What do you guys think?
I think like getting a lay of the land, trying to identify the youngling that we're looking for might go better, but that's just my instinct.
And
when the path is windy, we must follow the flow.
And we're expected to bring this youngling back, correct?
That is the hope, to convince the youngling to come back, because if you don't, then the dark side could touch this youngling and things could be very problematic.
And do we know it's a youngling?
That's how it was phrased to you from Nova. That's the feelings that he had, or the information that he had. Okay. He was a little vague on whether he actually got a report or some kind of missive, or he just had a dream.
Okay. So I think that so I'm going to turn to the foreman and say, well, I think you will find that we are very skilled, and we will need management, wieldy supervisor material. So I think that the interview for that might be more extensive. Or
yes.
you can just give it to us.
Yeah, I think we're going to enter into conflict here.
Okay.
He'll say, we can definitely offer you a job as far as management. Perhaps? What is it that a Jedi would do running this mine?
We would have a better feel for, especially myself, I have a better feel for the lay of the land and where the best places to drill would be.
Cool. So this will be a simple conflict. He is going to roll just 5d6. I'm going to go ahead and clear the dice. And this is a talking conflict. So non-physical, you'll roll acuity plus heart. I'm pausing for you to roll.
So that's what you got.
All right, let me move these dice down. So I have a 5 and a 4 as my highest dice. What are your highest? A 6 and a 3. So it's effectively a tie. I'll let him go forward. He says, well, I've got this pretty well under control. Perhaps you could work directly under me. Oh, you're muted, Stephen.
Sorry.
Okay.
I think what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to bring in a relationship with Lin Vo.
Oh, perfect.
My relationship with Lin Vo, I established, I think it's because I'm not as sure about how the outside world works. I'm used to the herdship. I'm used to my own people. And I think Lin Vo is very worldly and sort of like a little brother, explains to me or mentors me in the way of the world. So I'm going to bring in 2d6 for Lin Vo. And I think that that's a way that they can also participate. Are there group challenges?
So
I don't want to hog the spotlight.
Yeah, no, I get you. For now, what we'll do is just you're bringing Lin Vo, so we'll see what Lin Vo, how they color it, and you can move the dice forward.
Yeah. And so I actually rolled, and I think I rolled poorly again.
Yep.
Because it looks like I didn't get high numbers. So I will meet that challenge.
Okay. So you meet the challenge.
Uh-huh.
And what is it that Lin Vo, what do you say when this guy says, oh, yeah, you guys could just report directly under me and do what I say, but you're not a manager?
Yeah, and Lin Vo kind of like comes forward and like takes a seat on the other side of his desk in like negotiating stance. Just of the like, you sit down, you're like, this person seems like they've done things like this before. Trying to like use that smuggler negotiating vibe.
Oh, cool. I like that.
I don't see. I think that we have something else in mind.
Oh, nice. So then he said he will push back, and I'm pushing forward 2 3s. He says, if you're only here for a brief period, then you would not. I understand that the Jedi Order doesn't need credits. So that's his pushback is.
Maybe we don't get paid? Is that what?
Yeah. Sorry. Yes. He's like, do you not want to get paid? Because that will change the tone of this conversation.
It's quite possible that our payment isn't traditional. Possibly credits. We might need some, but not as much as normal. What we might need more is favor.
Nice. So we'll move that over to you. You took the blow. Sounds like you're giving in a little bit, but you haven't given in the whole conflict. You still want to win. And so he's going to push back his one. He says, I can give you a small stipend for a brief period before we need to move into anything official. And if you wanted to be, if you wanted that's a favor that I could offer you. As many favors, lots of information about the town. I'm a foreman. I'm very important.
I think we will be supervisors. We will still report to you during this process. But I think the first favor we need is a list of the workers that you have currently hired, and tell us specifically about problem workers that are issues.
Nice. Cool. So you reverse the blow with that, and you win the conflict. He's happy to bring you guys aboard Blue Horn Mining Corporation, and he'll give you some information. You're going to roll 3 dice of Fallout. This was just talking, so roll 3d4, and let's see how that Fallout comes. Oh, you already have. Look at you. 2, 3, and 3. All right. No ones, so you don't get any experience, but 2, 3, and 3 is an 8, so you get a long-term piece of Fallout with that.
Okay, so let me figure that out. And
Yeah. Okay, so he says, yes, here is a listing. As far as problems, I will tell you, friend Jedi. And he has no idea that they're a Padawan and Jedi, and he does, like, you're all Jedi to him. You've got lightsabers, you're Jedi. You know, I'll tell you, friend Jedi, some of my townsfolk are very upset because some of the miners are not respectful of our older ways. And sometimes there are conflicts between the Bothan and those who are not Bothan. But as you can see, I'm a foreman. They respect us. 1 or 2, perhaps there are conflicts. The cantina, of course, intoxicants, they cause problems. But when you have a bunch of miners who are working hard all day, it is difficult for them to relax. So it is an allowance that the town has made. We do have a steward, but this steward is a far cry from the steward that we had before. The steward, or the burger, his name was Utri, and he tried to put that canteen out of business a few months ago. He was shot down. Unfortunately, our doctor, Fiend, was unable to save Utri's life. And so now we do the best that we can, but there's so much profit, there are so many opportunities that I'm sure that it will work itself out.
so I took a sketchy relationship with Hisk Fafir,
Nice.
foreman at D4.
Oh, that's perfect. Perfect.
And by sketchy, I mean, conflict-y kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I intuit what you're saying. I follow you.
Fantastic.
Cool. And he will get to providing you guys with like foreman level stuff. So he's going to give you coveralls and Blue Horn Mining Corporation gadgets, like some hydrospanners and scanners and the like that you can use to head down into the mine.
So I'm most interested in a list of employees, and especially the troublemakers, so that we can look through those to see if anyone stands out.
Sure. So among the troublemakers, there is the Egger is currently has been arrested for the murder of Utri. So he is no longer working at the mining corporation. They have a small, they have a small area where he's being held. The trial is just being held at home. There's no actual police force here. Bost Nunia or Bost. He is the most problematic of the Bothans in the mining corporation. He is a worker, and he has a lot of problems with the intoxicants canteen. He's run up a lot of debts. He just shows up late for work, sometimes misses whole days. He's on his like third warning kind of thing. You get the feeling that if he weren't a Bothan, he would be gone. Yeah.
So I think I turn to the other two as we exit the foreman's office. Is that cool? Did anyone want to talk about anything else? I think as we exit, I turn to the other two, and I'm sorry. I was hoping that we would get more information about the youngling, and strange happenings around here that couldn't be explained. But I think what we got was a list of drunkards and murderers instead. So it's not worthless, but it's not what we're looking for.
I mean, you have to work at it. It's not just going to come to us.
I think Geetslow has a very strong interest in actually going down into that mine because she had that vision of it before arrival. And I think after meeting Hisk, she has a strong feeling that she might even find a youngling in the mines. He doesn't seem all that scrupulous with his labor practices. So she proposes going down into the mine, perhaps seeing if she can find Bost, the troublesome Bothan, down there, and see if she can't commune with the Force in the mine. But I think I'm open to anything.
Okay, so Geese heading down into the mine. Where is Linz?
I think
Going, where are they
I'll head to the cantina. Check that out.
And then what about Lithwa?
So I don't like the idea of going to the cantina. I mean, there's too many people there. I think I'll go down into the mines to see. I think we could, I feel more comfortable with the people that I'm familiar with. So let's go. I'll go into the mines with, yeah.
Cool. Okay. So let's let's follow Linvo. You're headed. It's like a block away. The cantina. There are like little neon lights. Everything else here is kind of dusky. It's within the mountain. It has that bluish sheen. This is pinks and reds, neon. There are a number of miners who are here. You can see they hear the music, and when you step into the cantina, you like literally step down a couple steps. Like you feel like you're going into the bowels of a place. And as you're heading in, Lynn, you've got those senses as being deceptive and living in a place. There's someone that's following you. You caught hints of them, and when you look back, you see that there's a Bothan, maybe prepubescent Bothan, like in human terms, like a 11 or 12-year-old Bothan child,
Okay.
who's following you and thinks they're sneakier than they actually are.
Okay. Well, I think two can play at that game, and I'll like go into the bar, and like the Bothan. I assume that the Bothan will kind of like follow me in, and then I'll go up to the bar and like order my blue milk and like sit there, and basically I'll keep an eye on them, and then once they like stand up where they're gonna sit to watch me, then I'll wait for a moment when they're distracted or someone passes, and I'll kind of like disappear and then like reappear at their table, kind of thing.
Nice. So they hide near the back. It seems like maybe this is a cantina where a young Bothan wouldn't be allowed to be. So they lose sight of you at some point, and then you appear right in front of them, and they jump back, and they actually like slam into the wall just a little bit, like the back, and and they just like words are gone. Like they're so shocked that you just like teleported as far as they do.
And I put down like another drink in front of them. That this is a non-alcoholic drink, like the equivalent of walking to a bar and ordering milk.
Oh, it's blue milk, of course.
Yeah,
It's blue milk. Right.
We both are drinking blue milk, and I like put one down in front of them and take a seat at whatever table they're at, and like gesture for them to sit down too.
And the child Bothan will come and sit down, and they say, I saw you have a blaster pistol, which was relatively well hidden, but
yeah,
it's got a male voice.
I think that like I'll reach into my like vest and like put it on the table and slide it across to them. Just be like,
his Bothan eyes grow wide, and he takes a big drink of the blue milk. He takes another drink and he puts it down, and then he reaches a hand out, like hovering over the blaster, like he wants to touch it, but he's just waiting to be told, yes, you can touch it, kind of thing. Will you teach me to shoot?
Good. I'm looking for something. Do you think you could help me find it?
I can. Mother doesn't make me take any of the training courses anymore. I can go anywhere I want in town. I know so much. I'm very wise.
Seems like you have many skills.
I do. He just runs a single clawed finger over the side of the holdout blaster.
Excellent. Well, if you finish your milk, I think that we can go somewhere perhaps a little bit less conspicuous.
My name's Bosty. And he takes the drink and he drinks a little bit more. And he drinks a little bit more, and you can see there's more blue milk just coming from his whiskers and stuff. He's just trying to finish the blue milk so you guys can go do the cool other thing. And we'll cut away from that scene down into the mines. And there is a kind of blue-green Trandoshan named Urk. You can see he's got a name tag. It says IRKH in basic. And we see the two of you guys, and he says, oh, you're looking for Bost. I don't even know if he came in today. But come on, we'll find him. Walk around, and then you find in a little kind of hoveled out within the mine itself, a kind of break room. It's like a table. It's just thrown in here. It's one of those like fold up tables made from plastisteel. My dog is chewing something. I don't know what it is, so I'm a little nervous. And sure enough, sitting there with a bottle of synthetic alcohol, which means it will get you drunk, but it is very cheap, is Bost Nunia, the Bothan. He looks up at the two of you, his eyes heavy-lidded. Great. More foreman. Just what I carking need.
The looks of this mine, it is exactly what you need.
Yeah. We're getting silver out of it.
I hear there is some dissatisfaction among some of the miners with the techniques that are employed here.
It's hard work. Not enough credits. It's probably nothing new.
Tell me, boss, is there anything in this mine besides silver?
I've seen some stuff. Sometimes there's bad dreams. Lost a few. Miners. You seen something? He kind of sniffs, like he's becoming a little aware of you now through the haze of drinking on the job.
Is this what brought you to drink, boss? These dreams?
Drink because I can afford it. It's hard work. I've earned it.
I think you'll find that none of us disagree that it is hard work. Tell me of these dreams, boss.
And he says, dreams getting swallowed whole, being eaten. There's a hollow here about a creature on Tatooine. It's this desert place. They say it takes 1,000 years to be digested. Like that. And big tentacles pulling me in. Probably gonna die here. I think all of us are. Can't put food on the table for a wife and kid unless you got a job, right? It's the only job we got.
A wife and kid. And at that point, I'll grab the manifest from Lethwo. I see here Kimur. She also work in the mine?
No. Be nice, right? Both of us work. Be nice. Twice as much income, but no, she doesn't go anywhere. She's got a mouth on her, too.
Bosty. Does Bosty work in the mine?
Not yet. He will. He'll earn his keep eventually. It's the thing about kids, right? You gotta take care of them for so long. When it's time for them to pay you back, they just leave. But I've been talking to the foreman. I think maybe trainee. He'll do something for us. He's gotta earn his keep. Hisk needs bodies. Bossy's got hands. You could do this work.
So I have this desire to reach out and see this dream of his. I'm not sure if that is that conflict.
No, I think it for number one, because time, and also because I'm also super interested in you having this information. I don't think it's a conflict.
Okay.
So you reach into his mind.
Yeah, and I think it's perhaps disguised slightly by me touching his hand and saying, I understand the fear of losing your child, of them
and
leaving
and
your grasp.
Yeah, when you touch him and you lean in and with your mind, you can see that all the dreams that he's having are from the drink, that whatever nightmares are brought through the abuse of his own sanity, that he does work hard, but he feels entitled to get drunk, that he sees his wife and his child as burdens, and that is how the wickedness has crept into his heart. He resents them. He resents this job. He doesn't see a way out of salvation.
But there's no deep Sith temple underneath.
You do not see a deep Sith temple underneath, because Rich has written a town that could happen after doing a whole lot of setup, and so I was trying to do a one session town. So no deep Sith temple yet.
No. Do I see anything about his kid?
Yeah. You see his kid, and I'm sorry, I'm going to do a quick check of something. So we're veiling this, but you get the sense that he has been violent with both
Gotcha.
wife and child.
I think I share this with Lethwo.
Ooh.
Nice.
A moment.
And it's veiled. I think it's not, directly spoken, but between us, we understand what's happening.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think Lethwo will take a small bit of time to reach over and to what's his name?
His name is Bost.
Yeah, to Bost. We'll take a moment to reach over to Bost, and Lethwo will kind of put his hand on Bost's hand, and I'm going to do a healing.
Ooh. Yeah, that's got to be a conflict.
Okay.
Because you're trying to heal his soul. So let's do that. Hopefully this will be pretty quick. I'm going to go with 5d6.
Okay.
I've rolled the dice. Let me move him down. Oh, he has a very powerful, hateful heart, friend. So go ahead. What are you?
And this would be non-physical, so it'd be
It is.
acuity and heart.
Exactly.
Okay. And submit. Did that show up?
It did.
Okay, good.
Share screen, so we got it here. All right. So I've got the highest. Oh, we got tied. Do you want to go first? 6, 5, 5, 5. Yeah, you've got more high dice, so you get to go first. What's
so
the
I'll
first
do that.
thing you do?
And yeah. Oops, it moved.
So I'm
gonna
here.
Yeah, I'll move those two down, and I'll say I'll reach out with an 11, and I'll say peace needs to be brought to your soul, and it can't be found in this drink or other substances. You must find it within yourself.
And he's going to block it by saying, peace doesn't put a roof over my head. Peace doesn't take care of my family.
And I'm going to bring in force healing.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. Okay. Didn't help much, but okay. And I'll say.
But doesn't Rich put the challenge forth?
Oh,
now?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yes. He says, I smell judgment on you. Who are you coming out of nowhere to tell me how to live my life? So you can't turn it, but you can easily meet this.
And what I'll do is I'll turn to him and I'll say, I am a wanderer who has been lost myself, and I can change the path slightly and talk to you about the path that I have found.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. So you're moving in the 2 5s,
Yeah.
and so that will block him, and so he's gonna put forth. He'll say, "I don't even know how to live anymore. I'm stuck here."
Remember the time whenever you were most happy, and deal with that instead of dealing with a numbing drink that would prevent you from experiencing that again. I imagine this sort of like in the movie where Obi-Wan waves his hands and says, "You will rethink your life," kind of thing.
Yes, it's totally that. I love that. And you get to witness it. He takes the bottle and he screws the cap on. You can tell there's a moment where he thinks about just smashing it against one of the rocky walls, but instead he just leaves it there and he says, I got a lot to figure out. I don't know how to do this. I'll figure out a way. I don't know my wife's ever gonna get past this.
I'm sure that there are people here in this community who will help.
We'll cut away from him to the cantina. You said you were leaving the cantina, right,
Yeah,
Linvo?
yeah.
And Bosty says, "Somebody's as Jedi. You kill bad guys, right?"
And like Linvo kind of like sits there and thinks about it a little bit because, well, I guess that they can be a Jedi, although they're a little bit on the down low now because they're not wearing their robes and but they still have their lightsaber like strapped to their leg. So
Lightsaber equals Jedi to this kid.
Yeah, but
I see. He says, "I've seen the holos. I know you're a Jedi."
And then Bo kind of like thinks about it and goes, I suppose that's one of the things that Jedi do. Lynn is feeling out of their depth as feels that probably Guy or Lethlo are the two better suited to explain what being a Jedi is than Lynn.
Are you imagining maybe you like are going to show off the blaster in some alley or?
Yeah, but I'm going to show off the blaster, and I know that we're looking for a youngling, and I know that the Force does weird things, so I'm going to like show off the blaster and kind of try to watch them. That I know that the Force talented people can send up do Force things on accident. So I'm kind of trying to watch him to be like, maybe he's kind of like I was, where if he encounters Force things, or if I like exert some Force powers at him, maybe he will instinctively react, and then maybe he's the person.
So maybe it's the alley behind the cantina. There's the guys, you set up a few bottles or something, and you've got the holdout blaster, and you fire off a few shots, and you're a good shot because you're a Jedi, right? That's just a thing. And you hand it to him, and he stares at it for the longest time. This like little hideaway holdout blaster, and then he reaches out with little shaky hands, and you think, oh, there's no way he's going to make the shot. And then there's this moment, and you feel this odd tickle at the back of your neck, and you sense him imagining that bottle has someone. He squeezes off a shot, and he just takes off the top of the bottle, just clears it, shears it right off with the blaster bolt.
And Lynn kind of like claps their hands like, good job, and like gestures at the other bottle, like, why don't you try to shoot that one too? And if he does the same thing, I want to try to use the Force to like throw it off just a little bit. Like, I want to make him, see if I can get him to miss.
Ooh, nice. Just for time, I think you do that, right? You use a little bit of the Force. Whatever he's pulling on, he's grasping, and you're stronger. Now yours is problematic, so I think something goes wrong. Like maybe you push a little too hard. What does that look like?
Yeah, I think that it's like I was trying to be like tricksy, like our Jedi Master of like, I can use the Force to help like guide things along without being noticed, but I don't think that I was noticed. Like, I think that he kind of realizes or puts it together that something that he wasn't thinking about happened. That like he did that, and then his arm like jerked as he fired it.
Right. So you were trying to do very subtle and deceptive, and somehow you showed your hand, or he's just clever enough to pick it, or maybe has some kind of grasp. But he looks at you. You did it. You did a mind trick on me.
Now that wasn't your mind, but I think that we have some other things to discuss. And I think that I'll like, if he'll still go with me, I want to go back to our speeder or wherever we said that we would meet up.
Okay.
After.
And I think we'll call it right there. Because I think there's a lot of conversation will probably take place after that moment. So cool. So there's no like end of session XP or anything. We're
a minute from time. So if anyone needs to go, totally cool. I'd love to do a little bit of roses and thorns, particularly around this Padawan's port to Dogs in the Vineyard. If there's anything that we can do to things that you really enjoyed or aspects of it that felt a little clunky, and things I can do in refining it for the second through fourth sessions. Cool. So thank you guys so much for giving this a shot. This was quite fun for me as a GM. So let's go through, and we will start off with thorns. Thorns are, in particular, if you can angle it towards this felt uncomfortable an X or Y bit, or I need clarification on rules Z or alpha. I'll say at the top, I think some of the port over and like the authority, and you put a really good finger on it, Stephen, with the port of a Jedi versus Padawan, or Jedi versus Dogs in the Vineyard, and how much authority you have. I tried to, within the time frame, use the HoloNet to be our excuse that you guys have this authority and power, but I do think that's a little clunky, maybe a thing that I can do to refine it, because I think one of the good, interesting parts of Dogs in the Vineyard is that the dogs, like, they could just come in and say, I'm going to drag this person out in the street and shoot them because that's what this town needs to clear whatever is poisoning it. And that's a less easy port to what we just did. So I think that's a thing that I need to give some thought to. And I think the fact that we're in the timeline we are, like, if this were old Republic, it'd be super easy. You Jedi, you walk in, you do whatever you want. But because we've done it, and Rich is doing it like right after Return of the Jedi, it's a little awkward. Yeah. So that, I just want to say it on top. I definitely sensed that, and I think you guys did a good job working past it. Stephen, what thorns did you have from today's session?
So the two things I was going to mention, one was the different numbers in the comment versus in the rules.
Thank you.
Which I think we fixed. It's no problem. And then the other was the sense of authority that I stumbled with a little bit. And I think that I understand now a little bit better with the HoloNet and, here's where Jedi come in and that kind of stuff. It might also be possible that anyone who served in the war on either side, like ex-stormtroopers or ex-rebellion, would hold Padawans or Jedi in that level of awe, right? So putting them in place would be like, like the mayor or someone like that of the village saying, hey, I served in the war and I saw this stuff. Whatever you want, just let me know and I'll do it. I found, I don't remember doing the initiation stuff in Dogs. It's been so long. But I found whenever I played Dogs before, it was a little creepy, exactly like what you described. Whenever someone comes out and is like, I'm just going to shoot this guy because it's what's best for everyone. What we say goes. And translating that to Jedi is a little bit more difficult, but it's still there. The common people are just like, whatever you guys say. So, yeah, it's a difficult thing. Yeah.
Thank you, Stephen. That's very helpful, and I appreciate you ruminating on that. Eli, what thorns did you have, especially coming from first time into Dogs? So I'm really interested in your point of view.
Yeah, I mean, just thinking systematically, it's interesting because the conflict makes sense. Like, I get where that's coming from, and the dice pools and dice trading, and that works. But just thinking up of conversations that happened on Twitter and on the Gauntlet about like how often you should be rolling, and like when you should be rolling, that those conversations into this, that seems like Dogs is so much free play, and then the mechanized parts are only like a smaller section of the game.
Yep.
And I'm a big fan of thinking like from the design aspect of like mechanize and incentivize the pieces that you want. And so it's a little bit harder as we're trying to figure out what we want without the help of the mechanics really pushing us to get to that point. So I think we're getting there, and like the stuff we're doing is good, but we're kind of like having to dig that out ourselves instead of the mechanics of the game enabling and empowering us to get there.
Yeah, and I think some of that is more of the new tilt and the reskin, because Dogs in the Vineyard is a lean game. Like, you get thrown in.
There's no I'm going to go research X or Y role in Dogs of the Vineyard. You're just handed information.
It's just it's just conflict after conflict.
Yeah, exactly. But I appreciate that, Eli. That is helpful. Greg, what thorns did you have from today's session?
I guess it's more of a thorn for Dogs in the Vineyard itself. I have trouble with games where there is no aid mechanic.
Wait, there's no what mechanic?
Aid, where there's no aid or assist. Yeah, if I can't like throw my dice in, throw my carks in at the roll for somebody else or get involved, I feel, and I think Stephen had a bit of this, possibly discussed it while I was out in the restroom, but the spotlight kind of thing, it very rests. As somebody who like enjoys jumping in on other people's stuff and then doesn't like it so much from like holding the spotlight firm for a conflict, that can be a little bit interesting. As far as porting it to the Star Wars universe, I think it translates really well. We didn't get to do this in play, but Geetslow was totally about to pull her lightsaber and kill that Bothan. And I think, in as a little denouement to my character, and a love letter possibly when she comes back, possibly, I think she has to go meditate on that thought afterwards, because that's a very dark side of thought to just execute somebody. And I think that's an interesting thing, and that does come from the system. So I'm rolling into my roses, but I think the thorn is the lack of aiding and assist. I think Steven's intuition on that being hey, why don't we sort of, if I pull in this relationship, why don't I get some input from the other character? I wish I could have used that myself at some point, just because I want to see how that would work as well. I have a really good idea of what Geetslow's relationship to Linvo might be, and I just wanted to invoke that. I'm going to make a note somewhere so I don't forget it.
Good note. That's a good note. I appreciate that. Thank you, Greg. And you went last on Thorns. You get to go first on Roses. You're rolling right into it. Go for it.
What a great group of players. It's always fun to play with you, Rich. The system is also really good for doing. I loved our training scenes, every single one of them. And before I saw this, I watched a video that was a review of Dogs in the Vineyard, and my impression was, wow, did they play it? Because they were saying like, no, I don't enjoy it, and I haven't played it yet, and now I just played it. I'm like, I don't think they played it, because there's no way, if this is your kind of game, you could not play this particular conflict system and be like, this is brilliant. And I love the going back and forth and escalating, and it reminds me a little bit of Swords Without Master. That sort of,
I could see that.
The matching dice, and it's very free flow. Like, oh no, we're just doing this scene, whatever a push means to you. Describe your character failing forward. Was just awesome, and and then I took a lot of, I don't know, it almost you could die in character creation. It does have, it has that traveler aspect to it. You could totally just kill yourself, and in a way I did kill myself in the character creation, but
you killed yourself and you're reborn. I loved it. Awesome. Thank you, Greg. Eli, what Roses did you have?
I really enjoyed playing and seeing the characters everyone drew out, and I think that is also interesting then how you talk about how conflict is between the GM and the character, which makes it a little bit harder to build the like party aspect into it. But I do enjoy thinking about everyone's characters had very different methods of being a Jedi, because like Linvo would have dealt with that Bothan in a completely different way from either Geetlow or Lethlow. That there would probably be more like, I'll just like figure out the solution, but not really change a whole lot of things. And Lethlow is the like, we're going to fix them, and Geetlow is like, well, just cut them out and that would work. And I thought that was really like interesting that everyone's bringing very strong characterizations to that. It's really cool.
I agree. Thank you, Eli. Steven, bring us home. What roses did you have?
So I mentioned it sort of before that I don't remember the initiation mechanics whenever I played it before. Now that we've gone through it, I remember the dice mechanics going back and forth, but I don't remember that initiation. But the initiation in this game, everyone got a chance to shine and show something about their character, and it was so good. So I think that's a very good thing about the system and the port over to the Star Wars world. Yeah. I remember one of the things I remember about playing in dogs was it made me really uncomfortable because of that absolute authority. And is that something you're going for here?
I just what I want. No, in short, no. That said, I do think that's one of the assumptions that the dogs is kind of built on, is that you've got the absolute moral authority. What is the decision you're going to make? Right? These people are coming to you with your problems. You are the ones that have to fix it. Right? That's the default assumption for a watchdog of the tree of the tree of life for the
So that came across to me really well. To a certain from a certain perspective, if you were going for, we should question whether or not the Jedi are right or we're acting correctly or not, which is a big overarching thing from the movies, then I didn't quite get that feel. What I got more of was we're Padawans finding our way to discover what's right and what's wrong and how do we fit into the world. And that fits really well. And I think that's part of what you were describing. I think it works really well.
Cool. Good. Yeah. Then that's very happy making. I dig it. We found our way. That's good. Roses to all of you for giving this a shot, for being open to stumbling through the system, for the chocolate and peanut butter that is our Reese Cup of Fun. I really love the commitment to characters. I am super excited for more sessions and happy that this was pretty good. I definitely think this is a game that I'm probably not going to be able to extend out to like 5 players, just because it just doesn't feel like it feels like we'll really start to not fire. There'll be a lot of downtime for folks, especially without any help maneuvers or mechanics. And I may put a think on that to see if there's a way to allow people to do it, but I'm not sure how to do that. So I'll think about it. But anyway, thank you guys so much. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording here and say very much thank you all and enjoy the rest of your Saturday.